God, I might actually have to record as well because I'm losing 36 frames. Ooh, this is bad. But yeah, so just some rules clarification. I remember early on I said that there's a dash action where you spend 2 points, move 2.5 times your movement speed. That is incorrect. It's you can take multiple strides. So you can move up to 3 times your movement, but you use all 3 of your actions. The raised shield was another one that I kind of fluffed up on, shall we say.
Okay.
When you raise shield, you gain the bonus AC from your shield. If it is a large enough shield and you are small enough, you actually can give yourself cover. So like for you, Raga, if you're using a tower shield, which is like, 5 feet tall, you would gain light cover as well as your bonus AC. The thing though is that if you do anything else, it cancels raise shield. So basically you always want to end your turn using raise shield, or be like, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna move and then raise shield and end turn there.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing is, even if your shield is raised, attacks from the back do not actually, or they bypass your shield's AC. So like flanking is actually very important, because as we fight better monsters and everything that have shields, you guys are all gonna want to be able to do that.
Gotcha.
And then I think that was like those two were like the big majority ones that like I looked back on and was actually like, oh, I actually kind of screwed up with these. But yeah, and then I guess before we go on or move on, should we have any other rules clarifications? Or questions about rules or stuff like that? Because everyone should be level 3, right, Tori?
Yep. Most of the way, don't worry. It's fine.
So Pathfinder 2E has a different style of multi-classing. So I believe you can still multi-class, right? However, they have a system called Archetype. Riley, you look like you're just done.
You said Pathfinder 2E, not Pathfinder 2E. And my brain just went Banjo-Kazooie and immediately Pathfinder Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, the sequel to Pathfinder we all deserved. Would it surprise you if I said that I have actually thought about working on a system that takes, instead of classes and races and heritages and all that stuff, each player picks a classic Nintendo character with stats and level abilities and everything, and I'd take you through like a multiverse brawl of like going through them. So one player could be like Banjo and Kazooie, one player could be like Mario, we could have chameleons. I have thought about that legitimately seriously and how I would structure that. I am that much of a fucking nerd. Anyways, so there's Archetypes, which Tori actually had a question about last session. So the way it works is, instead of a class feat, you take a dedication feat. So like Spoopy, for example, I was using, I don't know why I'm pointing like this, because in Discord she's under me, but she's actually right over there. Spoopy is a gunslinger, right? But she is focusing on crafting as well as kind of like the ability to make alchemical things, such as the alchemist.
Crafter.
So she could actually take the dedication for the alchemist class, which would unlock a bunch of specialized class feats from the alchemist that then she could use. So instead of spending levels on the class, it'd be, like in Dungeons and Dragons where you're like, I'm a 2nd level fighter, 2nd level mage, you're like, I'm a 4th level gunslinger, and I have 2 feats from the alchemist class that let me do stuff like that. And that also unlocks like equipment, spells, and things that require you to be an alchemist, which honestly I kind of like that system. Because it's you got to make a good choice if you want to multi-class, instead of just like, I'm gonna take a level in paladin so I can fucking lay on hands and smite people. But yeah, so Tori, if you wanted to do your battle medicine upgrade, now we know how. But yeah, so 4 minutes into the stream, whatever, we're still answering questions. Anyways, welcome everyone to Phaeton Shattered. This is session 5. As always, I am your storyteller, the Mustached Owl, bringing you this fantastic story where we campaign where we ask weird questions like, I don't know. I'm very tempted to make Riley hate me again, but that tangent on Twitter was too much fun.
Don't even.
I know Tori would have my back. Everyone else here might hate me for it.
Don't even.
But we get to ask fun questions like, you know, what if I sent my players into the void and they had to run away in a Resident Evil-esque fashion? And speaking of, that's actually right where we're going to pick up from. But as always, I am joined by my lovely table here of Spoopy, Tori, Aaron, and Riley. How are you four doing today?
I think it's too early to say.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, it's not early for you. It's early for us, though. Goddamn East Coasters. Living in the future and all that stuff. But today's going to be... Future. Today's going to be kind of a compressed session, as we have a hard cutoff, but that's totally fine. We're going to get our players through a whole bunch of stuff. And we're actually going to... surprise everyone and say that, hey, this campaign does have a storyline and I haven't just been dragging my players through pop culture themed dungeons, you know, whether they want to or not. So when we last left off, our players had just escaped the, we'll call it nightmare. I think that's a good terminology. That was the Overlook Inn. They'd been given a quest specifically by, I believe it was Torin, if I remember correctly, to go along on this super easy, not dangerous at all guard mission or escort mission to take a caravan along a new trade route that they were trying to establish that would cut about half a day off of the path. But instead of hitting 2 towns, would just go from Dar Fore to one of the other settlements nearby. And while they have successfully done that, they kind of hit a roadblock along the way. So it was a little bumps here and there. But as our players, you know, tired and a little worse for the wear, stagger into the town, you all are actually greeted by a familiar face. Standing before you is none other than our lovely Anthony. They turn to you all and kind of see the state of the wagon or the caravan driver, of course, still being knocked out, the other driver missing, the guard driving one caravan and the caravan master driving the first caravan. That's a lot of caravans for one sentence. And quizzically is just kind of looking at you lot going, I'm going to assume that you all hit a little bit of a snag along the way.
You could say that.
Oh.
You could also say that we were trapped in an extra-dimensional nightmare realm.
That is not
That's
what
what I go with.
That is not what I would expect for a lovely afternoon. He turns to the caravan driver and goes, the Baron will take care of any expenses that have happened and help you, of course. I know that you financed this through the Guild Association, but this was requested by the Baron, of course. And he kind of like, you know, steps us off to the side, caravan driver that is, and is kind of like just scratching his head, still trying to wrap his head around what happened. Anthony turns back to all of you and goes, the Baron sent me personally. It seems that he feels that he did not thank you enough for the work you've done for him before, and gave me a large stipend. He asked me personally to see to it that you all are rewarded properly. So Anthony turns behind them, grabs this chest and kind of drags it in front of them, opens it, and goes, I have personally selected armaments for all of you. So everyone, basically add another one of your weapons +1. So Riley, it'll be a greatsword +1, Aaron, it'll be a light hammer +1, Swoopy, it'll be a flintlock pistol +1, and Tori, it'll be a short bow +1. Anthony continues on.
The second weapon or the...
Yes, it is another weapon, so you can sell your original, or if you have the ability to, you can dual wield it, if you would so please. I'm fairly certain that Riley is muted, but said something to the extent of, I can dual wield great swords.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Channeling your inner Elden Ring, just being like, all right, here we go.
+1 to attack or +1 to damage?
It'll actually, so magic weapons, if they are magical +1, give you +1 to your attack roll and +1 to your damage roll. But they also make it so that you deal magical damage, which means that ethereal things you can actually hit now instead of not being able to, or things that are immune to physical damage.
How do you update that to a magical item in this?
What's it?
Character sheet. How do you?
Oh, it literally should just be like you add another flintlock pistol, and then there should be a modifier that says like magical +1. That's how it is in the player's handbook, at least. You can also just hard do the math if you want, to where you're just like, all right, add 1 to the attack roll, add 1 to this.
I'm just looking at the character sheet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to make that.
Of course, as well as we get farther on, there are going to be different modifiers. So, like flaming weapon, for example, makes you deal an extra 1d6 of fire damage. Tori, I see your hand is raised. What is up, my dear?
So since I was just in my inventory editing things, do I still have 2 bison pelts, or do I only have 1 now?
You only have 1 because you used the other one as the makeshift. I can't remember the actual terminology for those.
A litter?
Stretchers.
Stretcher, yeah.
Yeah, because you and Spoopy were dragging the caravan drivers.
I wasn't sure if I
Yes.
got to keep it or
Luca,
not.
the stream cat, which adorably we actually have an emote for Luca. I think. Let's see. No, I forgot that I named my channel points Hoots.
Luca's in chat.
Yeah, we have the happy
The
cat. emote.
Must 34 Happy Cat.
Yes.
Hashtag
I don't see why you make this a magical thing without doing it yourself.
We can look at that later too. But yeah, so after you all are, inspecting your armaments and everything, Anthony goes, rewind. I've always had an eye for detail, so I picked these out personally for all of you. I believe they will suit your needs. And here, to distribute among yourselves as much as you would like, is the rest of the reward from the Baron himself. And Anthony reaches out with a very large sack of gold. So the sack contains 275 gold pieces. Y'all can divide that up however you want. You can have one person be the bank or whatever. I don't know. It's your money. I'm not your supervisor.
I need it now.
It's my money. JG Wetworth. 877. Don't DMCA me. So, Anthony, after handing you the money, he goes, give me but one moment, please. And they turn to the caravan driver and begin talking to him, signing like some paperwork and everything. And then turns back and goes, what's up?
It was how much?
Grand total 275 was what left over after Anthony bought the armaments for you guys.
Okay, we can do like a 68 split each, because then there's some decimal points, but
So you 3 can take 69 and I'll take 68.
Is that how
Nice.
math works?
Nice.
Yeah. I literally just mathed it out for you.
thanks.
I got a phone call. I wonder if it's my car being ready.
877 cash now.
So,
Stuff.
while you all are splitting up the money and everything, counting the pieces out and all that stuff, each one of you whispers to yourself, nice, as Tori drops 69 coins in your hand. These are gold pieces, by the way, not silver pieces. I don't know if I specify that or not. Anthony eventually turns back to you and goes, all right, the town has plenty of shops and everything if you would like to look for anything more. Because I didn't know your sizes, so I didn't want to just buy armor that you all couldn't use, so I figured the armaments was the best way to go. He goes, now if there's nothing else that you need of me, I must return to the Baron and my duties. And seeing all of you kind of just stare at them, goes, all right, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I wish to see you in the future soon, and turns and leaves. So, you all are now left in the town of Dar Fore, Daufar, in case anyone wanted to know. There are plenty of shops that you can go.
Sure, we haven't been dropped into the middle of the Sudan.
No, you guys already passed that. So, the
Oh,
way,
got it.
just topographically, So the plains that you all crossed is actually a very ancient dry riverbed from back when Phaeton was one whole planet. So on one side is Dar Fore, on one side is Dar Fore, and then on the other is Dar Fore. They're sister cities. So because of the terrain where it was, basically just one big valley, most of the time they just would go around to a much safer path because it was much more, it wasn't that like very soft riverbed. And it wasn't until recently that the exploration branch actually was able to kind of create this path and find solid ground that they, instead of going from Dar Fore down to the other town that it used to go to, I had a name for it and I can't remember off to the top of my head, and then up to Dar Fore. Yeah, it's Dar Fore, Dar Fore. Yeah, Dar Fore and Dar Fore. So basically, instead of going in an L, they can now just go across the riverbed, cut about half a day out of travel, and it just opens up a whole bunch of trade in the inner area of this stasis dome.
That's gotta be a real bitch when it comes to sending mail.
Oh, yeah, no. Like, thankfully, Arcanotech has made it to where, like, snail mail is pretty much non-existent. But you still have things that are like, Dar Fore is very much known for like agriculture, because that side of the ancient riverbed was very fertile ground. So they were able to just basically supply the entire, pre-shattering kingdom with, wheat, vegetables, and whatever have you. Whereas Dar Fore was very much known for more of their like alchemical productions. So they would basically take whatever they needed, make it into what was needed, like antidotes, elixirs, whatever have you, topical stuff, and then send it back. So a lot of trade used to be done over this river. Because of the shattering, because water doesn't really exist unless it's a landlocked area, it's been a little bit of a struggle for them. And this makes it much, much easier, because now instead of taking a day and a half, 2 days to get what they need, they can basically do day-to-day travel back and forth, which just does nothing but really help the people of pretty much both these large settlements and the towns around them.
Okay.
But yes, you all are free to do shopping, or if you want to get back, in about a couple hours, there's going to be a caravan. It's not going to go back the same direction, so it's going to be about a day and a half, but there is a caravan to take you back. So,
and this is where just my lack of knowledge of Pathfinder is gonna.
So Spoopy has my player's handbook. I think I have a digital copy, so I can still look up stuff if people want to not create, but go shopping for like armor upgrades or specific things, or if you want to try out new weapons, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just became proficient with martial weapons. I just want to see if there's a martial hammer that would make a big difference or not.
Let's see, Advanced Player's Guide. I think this is... Yeah, this is the one thing. Let's see, martial... Because I think light hammer is simple, right?
Yes, but
So
I was trained in that.
Yeah, so I think your next upgrade would be... Warhammer, if I remember correctly.
Not sledgehammer?
Because I could be Sledgehammer. No, not Sledgehammer. As catchy of a song as that is. And surprisingly, not going to be one of our references for dungeons or anything.
Say it ain't so.
I will not go. Turn the lights off. Carry me home.
Yeah, I'd like to go price out a Warhammer.
Okie dokies. Let me sit here and wait for the PDF to load.
Yes, the 4 million pages.
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that like I'm streaming, recording, and I have 2 Google Drive pages open, so it's just like everything's bogging down a little bit.
Yeah, that'll do her.
Yeah, so let's see. Simple weapons. Oh, those are ranged. So martial weapons would be, yeah, Warhammer is going to be your next one. It's going to be 1d8 bashing damage. It's going to give you the shove weapon trait. So for a plain one, it's going to be 1 gold piece. If you want them to be able to forge you a magical +1, it's going to be 15 gold pieces.
Right.
And then if you want a rune on it, it'll be an extra 25 on top of that. And the only runes that they have available are... is it this book that has all of them? No. This is the create any NPC and monster that you could ever wish. Yeah, that I'm honestly...
Handsome Squidward?
I am What about it? Do I need to post the cursed GIF? Or not cursed GIF? Cursed emote?
No, the any monster you want. Handsome Squidward.
Yes, I could actually make handsome Squidward. Okay, so let's see. So a just flat +1 weapon would be 25 gold. A +1 weapon with a +1 skill to it would be 60 gold. And then if you want a +1 striking weapon, which would replace that +1 with a different modifier, that would be around 75 gold.
Okay. Once again, my lack of Pathfinder 2 knowledge, like, what would adding a +1 skill do?
So you could
Like, just improve a skill?
Yeah, give you a +1 to that skill. So like, let's say that you're like went to the blacksmith and you're like, hey, I'd really like a warhammer, but I very much am more of the diplomatic sort. Do you think you have any like enchanters in town that could do it? They could make you a diplomatic warhammer +1, and it would give you a +1 roll to your diplomacy skills and still have the benefits of being a +1 magical item.
Okay. Understood.
Yes, and then striking, if I remember correctly, I think that one is actually in Dominique. The book Dominique has the Pathfinder. If I remember correctly, striking is +1 damage dice, I want to say.
Oh. I'd like to ask roughly how long it would take to forge a +1 warhammer with striking.
Let me double check what striking does because I want to make sure. Basically, it would be the entire couple hours before you leave. Pathfinder 2E. Striking.
And if I gave them both my normal light hammers and my light hammer +1 as base stock, does that reduce the price at all?
Yeah, they'd take about 10, 15 gold off of it.
Okay, that'd be worth it.
Okay. So a striking rune stores destructive magic in a weapon, increasing the weapon damage dice it deals to 2 instead of 1. For instance, a +1 striking dagger is 2d4 instead of 1d4 damage. So striking does... No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in on that.
Okay, so yeah. So for a base striking rune, which they do actually have a rune carver here who can do that. For a base striking rune, it's going to be 65 gold, and then for the +1, it's going to be an extra 25 on top of that, so it'd be 80 gold. And then trading in what you have, they're going to take 15 off of that. So the blacksmith looks at you and goes, "How about give me a couple hours and 70 gold pieces, and I'll get you, the best hammer you could ask for."
Deal.
Alrighty. So Aaron's going to be working on that. Riley, Tori, or Spoopy, is there anything you lot would like to do?
Yes.
All right, Spoopy.
I don't know if you'll let me do this because I'm not trained in it. I'd like to look for a Dwarven scattergun and portable weapon mount.
Are you going like trench warfare on me now?
No, but they're much better weapons than what I currently have.
Let me see what the Dwarven
And I support it.
scattergun.
Ooh.
But I need the portable weapon mount in order to not have to deal with the kickback.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that straight up updates or upgrades you to 1d8 damage, bulk 2, reload 1. Kickback weapon is extra pelk, deals 1 additional damage
Got a
with all
scatter.
attack. Firing a kickback weapon gives -2 circumstance penalties to the attack roll. But if you have 14 or more strength, you can ignore it. You also get to fire in a wide spray. Wow, that is
Yeah,
really
so
cool.
I'd like to look for a scatter gun, but I'd also need to look for like a weapon mount to stabilize it.
Okay, go ahead and grab me. Go ahead and roll 2d10s for a percentage roll.
Oh, fuck me. 72.
Okay. So, you go to the back blacksmith with Erin. Erin puts in her orders and everything, and you go up and you're like, hey, I'm looking for, this specific thing, and you give the list.
Scatter gun of Dwarven make with a mount.
And he looks at you and he goes, well, I can make the scatter gun. That's not the problem. He goes, we have enough parts and everything. He goes, I don't actually have a blueprint for a mount. And we also don't have anyone who's really familiar with enchanting guns. He goes, so what I can do is it'll take a couple hours for me and my apprentices here, but we can make you the gun. I just don't think we'll be able to enchant it or anything like that. Is that okay, lass?
I don't want it enchanted. I just want the scatter gun. Also, can I potentially help them with the blueprint for the mount?
Go ahead and roll me. What would be a good skill roll for this? Give me 1 second.
I have engineering lore and crafting.
Go ahead and give me a. Oh, diplomacy and a crafting roll. We'll go from there.
Diplomacy was 15. Crafting is 20.
So he kind of looks at you and goes, well, I do not doubt your ability to craft. As a very small blacksmith, we've got enough bodies back here. It's just like, I can't have a new customer coming back here and mucking up our system. So if he's like, I appreciate the offer and
Even just for the mount?
He's very adamant about it. So you'll get your Dwarven scattergun. He is going to upcharge you because of the work that he has to put in. So instead of 10 gold pieces, it'll be 15 if you're okay with that.
That's fine.
Okay, so you'll also get that as well. Tori, Riley, you two, is there any shopping and or upgrades you are going to look for?
I'm currently trying to search for what I'm searching for.
You're trying to search for what you're searching for.
Yes.
And-
I don't know
Very
at what
Buddhist
point I
of
can
you.
use said item, so I'm trying to find that out.
What item is it? And I can help.
It's a bow.
What type of bow?
It's the Composite Longbow.
So you're looking for a composite longbow. So you'll need to be proficient in martial weapons.
How do you see that?
Which means we can go to Valindra. It should be on your character sheet.
Well, so I'm trained in it.
You're trained in martial weapons?
Correct.
So you have proficiency in martial weapons.
Okay, but like, when looking at the stuff, how do I know what it does, what it do?
What it do? It should actually give you the stats for it. I can also, of course, look up the stats for it. And in
All it says is category martial.
Yeah. So a composite longbow is going to cost you, for just the longbow, it's going to cost you 20 gold. It's going to deal 1d8 piercing damage. It's going to have a range of 100, which is going to be 40 over your longbow. It is going to be bulkier. It's going to take both of your hands, but it does have deadly d10, propulsive, and volley, which means that let's see, propose. So volley is going to be This ranged weapon is less effective at close distances. Your attacks against targets that are at a distance within the ranges listed take a -2 penalty. So you're not going to be able to like shoot things close up. But you can add half your strength modifier to damage rolls with this ranged weapon. If you have a negative strength modifier, you add your full strength modifier instead, meaning that you take the negative. Or are you trying to ask how can you add it to your character sheet?
No, so well, I know that part, but so at what level of martial do you have to be to use it?
Just trained.
I guess is what I'm just
Basically,
trained.
yeah,
Oh,
if you have training in martial weapons, doesn't matter if it's trained, expert, or master, or legend, you are proficient with those weapons. Like Aaron took the. Did you take the feat, or did you just up the skill for training in martial weapons?
It's my second doctrine.
Okay, so yeah. So through that, she gained the proficiency with martial weapons. So now she's at very least the level of trained.
got it.
Also, I love how all of you are just going straight offense. You're like, no one's visiting an armorer. We're just buying weapons.
I'm
Can't
looking
wear
at my
armor.
options.
You actually can wear armor. There is armor that you can wear untrained, unless your class specifically states.
Didn't tease me.
Oh, ripperoonie.
Isn't there like a what do they call it?
Jazz hands?
No.
Actually, jazz hands would be like this.
Penalties for
Yes,
armor.
certain armor does have penalties. So it'll cap your dex modifier, and on certain rolls, it'll give you minuses depending on the armor.
Yeah, so you just want to look and see which is like gonna mess up your overall build the most.
Yeah.
Like, I have a 0 dex modifier, so I can pretty much wear like a trash can and it wouldn't affect me much.
Yeah. So, like, for example, Spoopy
I have
could
2.
wear Explorer's Clothing, which, while it doesn't add any AC bonuses to you, if you found magical Explorer's Clothing, that magic would add AC for you.
Yeah, that would be different.
Yeah. And then, of course, you'll have training in different levels of armor, light, medium, and heavy, blah, 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 blah. And then there are certain magical armors and so on and so forth. There's crafting items, and, like, magical items are definitely, like, the next thing I'm adding on top of it for you guys, so that the 4 of you can actually, like, start getting beefy and become those adventurers. But there are certain things that get very confusing very quick.
So I'm assuming with armor, your strength has to be what the number of strength is.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, the only person who could actually wear full plate right now would be Riley, because Ember has the 18 strength to it. However, Riley wearing full plate would then be moving as fast as Raga because it's got the -10 movement speed.
It would also completely sap my dex and stealth.
Yeah. So, like, your character build, while possible for full plate, probably not the best for full plate. You'd be clanking around like you're playing the goddamn cymbals in a marching band. So yeah. So you wanted to look for the composite longbow, or were you happy with your short bow +1?
I'm currently I'm reading the thingies.
All right. So while Tori does that, we'll pop over to Ember. Riley, what is your girl Ember doing?
Ember is going to find the nicest establishment in town and get a good hot meal.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Great.
So,
The worst.
no, not the worst. You definitely do find it's kind of a hole in the wall. It's
Sure.
a little rundown. But
Perfect.
it's a nice bustling inn. There are people there, so you know the food at least isn't going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be any clientele because they'd all be murdered off. And you sit
Like you
down
do.
and, you talk to the bartender a little bit. You're like, hey, I'm just looking for food to fill my stomach. And he's like, well, lass, I got that for you. Sets you up with a nice cup of mead, or nice big tankard of mead. a nice big stew and potatoes, and you just go to town on it. So go ahead and heal full. And you're just going to relax and have a good time. So I don't think I gave anyone any mental modifiers, because I think actually all of you passed your will checks. But if you did get any that I just forgot about, this would be kind of like the point where like your brain relaxes, you're able to like focus on anything. So if you had anything like any of the like mental modifiers or anything like that, you'd wipe them off here.
Can I ask what the guy's name who served me is?
Barkeep number 1, because I didn't.
You say Barky?
Sure, Barky works perfectly. So. All right, Tori, have you figured out what you would like to purchase? And of course, there are going to be more options once you guys get back to Dar Fore. But
I'm gonna say I have not.
okay.
Okay. If you need a minute, I do have another rules question, Mr. DM.
Yeah, go for it.
DM, sorry.
Thorista? No, that doesn't work. Either way.
So shield HP.
Yes.
Okay. Up to this point, I think I only raised my shield like one time in combat, but up to this point, I haven't really paid attention to it.
Yeah,
So my bad. How does
No.
that work?
That was another one of the rules things that like I wasn't going to throw at all of you right off the bat. So in Pathfinder, shields do more than just give you flat AC bonuses. To activate a shield, you have to raise the shield, otherwise it doesn't do anything. But shields actually can do a whole lot more things depending on the magical modifiers on them. So to counteract the strength of shields, you 1 have to actually use it, which takes an action point, and 2, your shield has health. So if you are raising your shield and you get attacked, a portion of that damage, if it goes through, will go to your shield. And your
Okay.
shield does have health that you need to keep track of. Then, if you go to a blacksmith or your resident crafter over here, Spoopy, I know I'm pointing at Riley in Discord, but on stream I'm not. Spoopy can actually roll a crafting roll to repair your shield's damage.
Depends, actually. Let me double check something. I have quick repair.
Yes, so
I literally just take 1 minute to repair an item.
yeah. So quick repair,
crafting
instead of having to take a
I'm
short or
not
long rest time to do it, Spoopy can hurriedly patch it up and just kind of like get it going in an instant. So
Okay, cool.
going forward, I will ask that anyone with a shield keep track of that, because there's actually a hilarious build that I found online that Spoopy can do with a shield and gun, which the person who built this was a fucking genius. I'm not gonna say it out loud.
I think I know which build you're talking about.
It is hilarious.
What can Spoopy do?
Basically, they had the tankiness of a fighter with the ability to just blast motherfuckers with a Glock, and it was like the story they
Sounds
wrote
like you
behind
should
the
learn how to use
characters
a gun.
is fantastic. No. This person was a gunslinger, specifically a gunslinger to get this to work, and it's hilarious because of some of the free actions gunslingers get. Like they basically had 10 movement speed, but because of all of the modifiers and things that gunslingers get, they could move a full 30 feet and still be this walking tank, literally. Pathfinder 2 has some very broken and hilarious builds. So, but yeah, so shield health will be from now on is going to be in effect, because as we go on, I want to add more and more rules, just so that as we're learning, we can kind of experience the full range of what Pathfinder offers. Like season 2 is going to be, we've played for a full season, we know the system pretty dang well. Gloves are going to be off on all of us. We're going to go forward.
Gotcha.
And I mentioned this earlier, but I'll just re-mention it for not only the crowd but for my players here. Up to level 5, I'm going to allow unlimited retcons for your characters. As far as like, don't change your physical character. Like I am Ember and now I am, Icicle or something like that.
Mufasa.
But if you try out an ability or a feat or something like that and you really don't like it, just let me know and we'll change it. No problem. Because level 3 is when your characters are really going to start opening up, and you'll be able to get like a good kind of taste for what your class can offer up to level 5, and then from that point on, I'm gonna be like, all right, like, unless it's like, I hate this ability, it's absolutely useless, it does nothing for me, it's basically just a wait, case by case point, we can look forward to that. But for now, just like explore your characters, have fun and everything.
Okay.
All right.
So, at the risk of having to spend gold, in a sense of fairness, would you like me to have like the blacksmith repair it while I'm there?
No, we'll just say it's full health. On the caravan ride, you passed it to Hana, and Hana was able to just take all the time she needed to actually like repair it full up.
Cool. Thanks, Hana.
Anytime.
All right, my dear Tori, have you finally figured out what you would like to do?
I'm gonna sell my short bow.
Okay, just your normal one.
The second one, since they're both the same.
The second one is not the same. It's a +1 magical one. Your first one is a non-magical one.
Okay, I don't know how to change that then on stat sheets, but I'll sell the first one then.
Okay, so you go up. You're just like, hey, I just want to offload this, and the guy looks at it. It's like, well, it's in pretty good quality. It's seen some use. It's worn in. And he's like, I'll offer you 2 gold pieces.
I will take it.
Okay. So until you do figure it out, don't worry about it. Just remember, make a mental note. A +1 magical item will add +1 flat damage and +1 to your attack rolls. And then, of course, if it's a plus whatever, that number increases. Whatever the addition will also increase.
So you said +1 to attack and +1 to what?
So +1 to your attack rolls and +1 to your damage.
Damage. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So now you can, at the very least, deal 2 damage.
Woo!
But you can also hit things that are immune to physical damage now, which is the real bonus to having magical weapons.
Woo!
So as the day winds down, you kind of hear the caravan whistles signifying that they're going to be leaving soon. You all, hurriedly go back and do whatever you need to do. Ember, full belly, you get up from your establishment and start heading to, and you're all greeted by a very large caravan. They taking names and everything. You board along with a couple dozen other guests, and you make your way back to the town of Dar Fore. So a day passes, give or take a couple hours. You get to see some good sights and everything, and you're back home. So as you disperse from the station and kind of go to your homes and everything and are relaxing, you all get a message on your ATSTs, which for those who haven't watched before are not the thing from Star Wars. They're Arcanotech scrying tablets. I just like having acronyms that make people go, I hate you, just a little bit. It's fun. But this is actually from it's directly to you. It's not like the other ones that you've gotten where they've been from the Guild Association, for example. This one is actually from Milia and Varric Torrens personally. And they go, we've had a breakthrough on the zoo case. We would like to see all of you in the morning, as soon as possible, preferably. We have a special mission for the 4 of you. So, with that thought in your head, you all have a couple hours left before you should probably go to bed. So any other shopping or, whatever you want to do, you have time. Otherwise, we'll move immediately forward. And,
I probably would have wanted to do some crafting.
you haven't gotten the chance. You're a little tired, so we'll take a -2 to it, but you have the time and you have your regens to do some crafting.
Yeah, I'd probably want to throw together a couple healing potions.
Yeah, no, so go ahead. That's going to be a 15 to make 2. That'll use your alchemical components. And then on your roll...
Yeah, I have 3 badges now, so...
Okay, so so for using all 3 to make 3 healing potions, that's going to be a 15. You'll take a -2 because your character is tired. But go ahead and make me that crafting roll. I'm going to assume that face means that you did not make it.
going in dice jail.
So yeah, you're
That's 10 total.
okay. So you don't like blow yourself up or anything, thankfully. But you're very sleepy
Well, I mean, I
hands.
rolled a 3.
Again, remember, it's the scaling or the
I
sliding
know.
scale.
I'm saying like, thank God for my bonuses.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, because it was 5 and below, you kind of wasted your regens, so you'll have 0 regens after this. But you were just exhausted. A long travel, very mentally exhausting thing. You're not in the space to, but you're like, I got to get this done. I got to prep for this thing tomorrow. You sit down at your workbench, basically after hours, so your dad isn't there, and you just try and make something, and unfortunately, you just come up with absolutely nothing.
I was testing out that formula anyway.
Aaron, Riley, and or Tori.
Do I know where we know where everybody's rooms are located at?
Yeah, you all have like different haunts. So like,
Okay.
basically, the Guild Association building is actually built into the Stasis Tower. It's like connected to it because the Guild Association maintains and upkeeps Stasis Towers. And then while you all don't live there, you all just have like your homes in different sections of the area. So like Hana, for example, has her dad owns an actual smithy, owns and runs it. So she lives with her dad in the smithy, and it's off kind of in like the crafting quarter of the town, if you want to say. So like
Gotcha.
you being a cleric,
Craft
your home would probably be near like the civilian area, or closer to like the not really like the religious quarter, but more towards where like more market and less living is. You'd be kind of on that line there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just want to track down the group, see if they want to do any group bonding, go for a drink,
I mean, Ember. Like Hana definitely like she used her time, so she's crafting, so she's probably like well, I'll let Swoopy roleplay that.
I'm trying to test out this recipe, see if I can help us in the future. But I appreciate the invite.
Oh, all right then. Have a nice night.
Ember
There's no door open. You just hear, yeah.
Ember just
You
stumbled.
want to go get a drink?
Door opens. Ember walks out.
I'll take that as a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go see if the other one wants to come? All masks and spooks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean,
Right? I mean, she probably had a nap along the way, right? Like old people do. You put them in a car or anything that moves, and they're out in an instant. I mean, that's me as well. I'm out in a fucking instant if I'm not driving. Like, I don't have to pay attention. I'm done. Dunzo. But Tori, are you going to join them on their revelry?
Lindra, you in there?
Sure, why not?
All right.
we're getting drunk.
Gonna get wasted. So the three of you go ahead and roll, unless you want to go to Ember's local haunt. Go ahead and roll perception check, see if you find anything, or Ember, if you would like, go to your local haunt.
And this guy, his name's Barky. Kind of weird.
Barky was back on the other side. This was where you heard of.
Oh.
This was the bar where you heard of the challenge of lift.
Gotcha.
I
I know a place if anybody's interested.
That
Let's
actually.
go.
Let's see if I remember correctly. I actually did give that barkeep a name.
Wow.
So
I
that
mean, some people get names in your world.
some people do get names in my world. I will say I try really hard not to use random name generators, but I suck at creating names, so I kind of need to start using them. I need to admit defeat.
Valid.
So yeah. So the local barkeep, your favorite haunt that you go to and frequently visit in between guild missions, is the Broken Mule. That's the name of the tavern. It's off the beaten path a little bit, but it's always got people. It's always buzzing, and it's always got a nice atmosphere. That's kind of what drew you to it. Like no one goes there and is just like, fuck everything. Like everyone's just kind of like they know each other, and they just are like, very friendly with each other. So the three of you enter in and everything, find a seat in the corner and you just kind of sit down. The local barkeep, his name is Merrick Davidson. See, I did remember that I gave him a name. So Merrick Davidson immediately recognizes Emperor and is like, the reigning champion returns. What can I get you three? And is like kind of just
Hey,
like
Mayor,
talking to you and
round
everything.
for me and the table?
In a heartbeat, lass, I'll get there right to you. So he goes off, fills everything, barmaid comes over with it, sets down the mugs in front of you three, and your night of relaxation and revelry begins. So you three just kind of enjoy the night and everything, shed off the terrible nightmare that happened the previous night to you all, and are able to, for the first time in a while, actually relax. So as the night goes on, revelry continues, everyone kind of disperses, and morning comes far too early, unfortunately. So you all wake up with that message from Milia and Varric in your mind, and go to the guild hall. So you make your way through the guild, the winding statures, and you beeline it straight towards the military quarter. In the military quarter, you do find Varric in his office, and unfortunately, unlike normal, when he has kind of that jovial, like, you know, more of a little bit upbeat, kind of a stick up his ass disposition to himself, the atmosphere is completely different as soon as you enter. It's very serious, very straight cut, but also kind of like melancholy. He immediately notices the four of you enter and he goes, I am so glad you are here, and I do apologize for rushing you all. I like to give my my guild members some time in between missions to recover and everything, but we've come across a bit of shocking information, as well as we've had a request from a dear friend of mine, and we need some help. Now, normally I would give this to some more experienced guild members, but the problem with this specific topic can only be handled by people who I trust and who have dealt with some weird things of this nature. I read your reports on the Overlook Inn. I personally did dispatch some groups to go investigate what you all went through the place. I haven't heard anything back from them, though. He goes, but I feel like you four are qualified for this. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to ask directly, and be transparent with this. Does anyone know of the failed Stasis Tower?
Do any of us know of the failed Stasis
No,
Tower?
you do. It's literally just a plot hook.
I don't think I know
I
about
would
the
like to
failed
use
stasis.
recall knowledge.
Hey!
Can I do an engineering lore?
Yes. You all can indeed do those rolls.
That's just the lore roll, right?
Yeah, it'll be a lore roll. So let me come back over to the correct screen.
Oh wow, that was a hella big lag for me.
So, Jesus, you two. All right. So, so Ember, so Spoopy, you were like, I don't know, which makes sense for you. Raga, you remember hearing about a experiment that went on with a new type of stasis tower. But you don't remember any real specifics, just that something happened about 15-ish years ago. And it was kind of like a stain on a certain company that was just budding in the Arcanotech research facility. Tori and Riley, you two, however, remember that this company was basically trying to edge out the Arcana and Artisan quarters of the Guild Association as a whole, and basically say, we can do your job better with less resources. You don't know exactly what went on because it was kind of like a hush-hush thing, but you're immediately like, I know, those fuckers fucked up, and the Stasis Tower basically killed a bunch of people. So you all tell Torin, or Varric, the Torins, I'm just going to say, because both of them are there. And Millie is like, you are absolutely correct. There's a problem with this, though. She goes, we've always had a hunch, if you want to call it that, that something at that tower happened that shouldn't have been. From an engineering standpoint, it should have worked in theory. The theories behind it were sound. They were a little sketchy, but the actual application of the magic and technology to it shouldn't have worked. They had a small-sized tower, the one that actually you lot saw on your reclamation mission, that was producing a stasis dome of a medium size. That is something that we at the Guild Association have been trying to do for years. We haven't gotten close, and this random group of scientists were basically able to do it in a span of a couple of years. It makes no sense. And for several years, the colony thrived. People were able to live there. The colony had quite a few people who were coming in to live there and work on the Stasis Tower and study it. And then something happened. And there's unfortunately no records of what happened, but the Stasis Tower failed. And we lost everyone on that colony. And Varric kind of takes over and he goes, the big problem with this, though, is that it was kind of covered up very quickly by the owners of the company. And we've suspected that something fishy has happened the entire time, but as higher officers in the Guild Association, we can't quite supersede without evidence. That would break the people's trust in us, and that's something that we morally can't do. This was a massive loss of life, which is tragic, but unfortunately, it was handled by a third party, which we have no rights of controlling. But with some of the information that we've uncovered from not only your reports, but investigating the scenes of the missions we have sent you out on, we believe that we might have had a breakthrough. And he goes, on this specific floating satellite, though, there's also a very close friend of mine. This person is a personal confidant. I was one of the first people to actually make contact with him, and we've built a good relationship, and he has requested some help recently, and we just haven't had a reason. But I think now that we have a reason to send you all there, under the guise of helping this settlement, we can investigate the tower and get some answers. So it's very dangerous what we're asking you to do, but we want you to go to the satellite, investigate the tower, find out what happened, and as soon as you lot do it, there's going to be a nearby settlement. James, my friend, will actually meet you there, and he'll kind of explain what he needs done, and he might actually be able to give you some insight. He's been there a while. He's been working there a while. Do not worry. We're going to supply you all with personal stasis units, so don't think we're just sending you into the void of space. But that is what we're requesting. This isn't an official guild mission. This isn't you're being told to. It's my sister and I are asking you. Can you please do this for us?
I'd like to know what happened. If it was a feat of unimaginable engineering.
Okay. He goes, we're going to supply you with a very small vessel. It should only take a few hours to get here. Or not here, to get there. And we request that you leave immediately so that we can kind of make sure questions don't rise why a small reconnaissance group is going to be heading to a dead settlement, basically. There's no stasis on it. It is back to being a floating husk. He goes, my sister here will take you immediately to get fitted for this and everything, and then we'll get you right out on the way. And he goes, again, I cannot thank you all enough. If anything happens here, of course, we're going to update you. Thankfully, ATST communication will be totally fine. You're not far enough away that won't work. So if you do need help or anything, you can radio back. Milia will be piloting the ship personally. I need to stay here to kind of keep up face and make sure that questions don't arise. But worst comes to worst, I trust my sister to be able to be there for you all if you actually need it. So, you four are given personal stasis units, of course, and you board the vessel and you fly. And it really isn't that far of a trip. Like, from where you are, it's probably 2 hours by small reconnaissance vessels, and you're able to get there pretty quickly. Now, just so that people kind of know what personal stasis units are, they're literally just small atmospheric bubbles. They are basically a 5-foot diameter circle around you, so you don't have to worry about like sticking your hand outside of it and having it frozen in the cold of space. But they move with you, they walk with you, and they just basically act like a external spacesuit, if you want to think about that. So as you as the ship comes closer to the floating island, you do immediately see the Stasis Tower, and it looks different than other ones. Most of them are a giant crystal with kind of things built into the crystal to help regulate it and everything. This one looks more like a pylon, like it's 3 individual layers, which already catches you off guard. Millie goes to explain, the design of this was, as you can see, a little weird. There's no regulators attached to the crystal. There's nothing to really give the idea or the blueprint wise give the ability for the rune to regulate the crystal like in our towers. Because the way they work is basically at the very base of the tower there is a rune of stasis magic that is amplified by the magical crystal, and then the casing for the tower actually helps regulate it and supply the rune with magical energy. The larger the crystal, the more you can amplify it, which means the larger radius of the dome you get, and that's how you have the major, medium, and minor domes. See, I think of this shit. But this one really doesn't seem like there's almost no arcanotech attached to it. It seems almost pure rune magic and elven magic, which again is very strange because stasis domes were really made and completed using the fusion of all 3 schools of technology. You know, elven, dwarven, and rune. So as you're coming in, you see this tower here and you land pretty close to it. There is the settlement is actually a little bit far away from the tower, which is also kind of strange because usually in most areas your ship port is at the tower so that, people can find it very easily. The settlement is far away, which already kind of like makes you a little bit curious. She goes, all right, so after you investigate this, James is going to meet you to the south, away from the tower. To the north is the settlement. To the south is where you're going to meet James. She goes, once I offload you all, I'm going to be orbiting the island so that I can keep an eye and kind of like come quick if anything happens. Do not be afraid to call for help. Do not be afraid to report findings, and just make sure that you all are safe no matter what. So you all offload of the very small vessel, and that's not the correct thing. 2, 3, and 4. Copy all of that. Going to go over here. Going to paste you all in and drag you over. All right. Has Roll20 loaded for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Am I coming through?
Yes. So in front of you stands this very small stasis tower. The base of it is approximately, let's see, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, about 35 feet in diameter. It's made out of a blue stone, and it goes up probably about like 15, 20 feet, comes in, and then there is a smaller diameter tower that goes up another 20 feet. It is covered in runes on the outside. Goes in again, and then the crystal is in the very center. Strange thing about this crystal is that it almost looks like it is moving and shifting lava. It's very bright. It's red, which most Arcano crystals are actually purple. But even though that the light from the crystal is still shifting, God damn it, Riley, the basis of the stasis. Even though that light looks like it's shifting, there's no stasis field or anything coming from it. And you don't get the sense of anything like magical or like electricity or anything like that coming from it. It's just like it's still shifting like it should be activated, but nothing is coming from it. So in front of you there are two corpses. One is laying on the ground, the other is slumped up against the base of the tower, with a sword actually like piercing through it. But there's nothing else that just easily catches the eye from that.
How old do these corpses look?
They're covered in ice, so it's a little hard to tell. Go ahead and roll a perception check though, and we'll see if you're kind of able to like discern a little bit more to the eye. You are able to discern quite a bit. So corpses look kind of like they have advanced atrophy, probably because they're left to the harshness of space. However, there's still flesh on them. So probably about right when the tower fell, or the Stasis Tower fucked up. It's easy to say that they've probably been here for the entire time. So 10 years, give or take, two. But upon closer inspection, the corpse that is against the tower, you spy that it actually has a tattoo on it. Right on its arm, upper arm right here. And you are able to see that it is like an orb, so think of like a crystal ball, with chains wrapped all around it.
Can I roll a lore?
You can roll a lore. Aaron, what were you going to say?
Kind of along the same. It's not like an obvious like religious symbol or anything.
Go ahead and roll me a religious knowledge check. While both of you do not recognize this as a religious symbol, but you also recognize that there is nothing that looks quite like this in any modern or ancient history or religions that you can think of. So no deities really come to mind, no religious groups, or no even like, fanaticism like comes to mind when you look at this.
Can I approach and roll like a society check? See if there's any like figurehead that uses that symbol?
Yeah, go ahead and move yourself up forward then so that you can look at these two corpses. And make your roll. So you recognize that both of these people are actually from Phaeton Beta, based on how they're dressed. Each of the major islands kind of has their own like subculture of like kind of how they dress. Phaeton Mu is more Eastern European. They're very like, you're built in your climate, your climate, you dress to your climate. Phaeton Beta is very much Northern European, where it's like, we live in the cold, we breed in the cold, we die in the cold. They're very much like the environment.
My ancestors.
Yes, mine too. They're very much like, they are hardy people, because Phaeton Beta is actually of the northern hemisphere of Phaeton. So that is how they basically have grown up. They've grown up in the harshness of winter. These people are very long ways away from Phaeton Beta, as this floating island is actually in between Mu and Lambda, which are of the so northern hemisphere, if you want to see it. Phaeton Lambda would be like here, like this chunk here, so kind of like, again, think you're like Central Europe type of climate. Phaeton Lambda is actually a little bit farther south, so think of like North Africa based on like climate. So this island wouldn't have people, or at least like you wouldn't think that people all the way from the very, 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 very far north would be here because the climate generated by the Stasis Tower would be a little too warm for them. But Hana is able to identify the clothes on them very easily.
From Beta.
What would they be
These are
doing
people
here?
from.
So if everyone would roll me a perception check.
Me.
Ah.
So,
Jesus Christ.
again, this is where I'm like, I have to use all of my books today. So, Raga and Valindra, you two are like totally enamored with the question of why are they here?
Why?
You all are definitely just like something like that thought is so stuck in your head that you are just focused on it completely and you don't see anything happening around you. Ember, my dear, you're staring at the corpses wondering as well, and you see that the ice that encases them is starting to crack and shatter. Hana, even though you can't hear it, you immediately, like, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, that like vulpine instinct of you immediately triggers, and you look to your right, and to your right there is a floating head. It is devoid of all skin, so it's a skull, encased in a very, very bright green fire, which again, for the void of space, makes absolutely no sense. And as you notice it, I need everyone to make me a will check real quick.
Oh, thank God that went up.
Good thing that just leveled up.
As I said, as we get farther and farther, we're gonna get a little bit meaner.
baby!
Yes!
Let's see, this will be...
27.
Ooh, alright.
Oh,
So-
Tori, I hope you
Good
made it.
roll.
Tori did. All of you. So
Oh,
you
good.
all are immediately shook. There's no sound coming from it as it opens its mouth, but like a feeling of almost like nails into your skull washes over you. But you all are able to like kind of like grit and bear through it and prepare for combat. Everyone roll me an initiative as I populate our board here.
No valid token.
What?
Oh, it's right. Bad perception.
You
Gross.
should have a valid token. That
Oh,
one. Valindra. Let's do it again. There you go. Save settings. We're going to open up the turn order. So, we will have... There we go. That's 1. That's 2. This is numero 3. And Hana, as well as the skull, you also see a very ice-encased corpse step out from one of the dead trees to your immediate right.
Immediately, like, just like flag
Yeah.
pointed out. So that everyone's aware.
And boop. All right. So let's see. Add turn. Raga got a 24, which is hilarious because your dexterity is so not high. Anna got a 12. You're just the fastest stubby leg dwarf ever. Add turn. Valindra got a 19. And Ember, that great sword is weighing you down. You also got a 12.
Yeah. I'm a little slow today.
Boop, 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 and kaboop. Can I extend this? I can. Oh my
Corpses are on the
gosh.
turn order.
I gotta roll my turn orders, but
Saying the corpses are on the turn order.
yeah, no. There are 3 corpses and the flaming skull, so there's 4 things total.
Jesus.
But don't worry, because holy crap, did I roll bad. So Flaming Skullboy is gonna go then. I gotta grab my other book. Yeah, I'll just use the book, even though I have this open. I'm just going to assume that these guys are slow. What ones did I use? These ones. Okay. Yeah, no, they're pretty slow. Never mind, I fucking lied. This one is fucking raring to go.
Oof.
Doesn't smell flesh because, you know, it's space.
Man flesh.
Meat's back on the menus. Okay. So, Raga, you're able
Know what a
to
menu is.
kind of snap out of your trance, and are able to be like, oh shit, people are here, we need to fight, and you go first, my dear.
Right, so this one's standing right in front of me?
Yeah, it's the corpse you were kind of standing over is like getting up. So it is going to be flat-footed for you because you are acting faster than it. So you will have the +1 to your attack roll on advantage.
Oh, okay. I'll spin my hammer around so that the flat's pointed up, and then I'll just try the upsweep, and I'll just say, let's try this out!
Alright.
Okay, so it'll be a +1 on top of my +1 hammer attack roll.
Yes. So you'll do your normal attack roll, you'll add 1.
So 16.
So yeah, 16 will indeed hit.
Okay.
Poggies.
So you'll do. I want to make sure just that you're getting the right thing. So 2d. Okay, cool. So it is doing that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I just rolled garbage.
Yep. I'd rather you roll garbage legitimately, like rolled legitimately and it got garbage, and not garbage because like the math is off, right?
Right.
Okay. So let me get a pen real quick. That is the wrong one. All right. So you spin your hammer around. You just connect straight to his fucking jaw, and he reels back. So you've got 2 more actions, my dear.
Just want to check something here quick. If I step into this diagonal here, like it stay diagonal with him, that will that open me up to an attack of opportunity or no?
No, because instead of
I'm not breaking.
Yeah, because instead of striding, you're also going to be stepping, which will not provoke an attack of opportunity from either.
Okay, gotcha. So I'll step here, and then I'll throw my guidance up onto on his gun, and the little golden reticule will appear for.
Okie dokies. And that'll be all for you. Let me just get some numbers real quick. Okay, so this one took 6 damage. Alright, so with that, Zambino kind of reels back from the attack. He's going to, of course, turn towards you. And he's going to take a swing at you. And is going to try and grab you at the same time. He does not. So he, still a little frosty, is going towards you. And you're just like, too slow, motherfucker. Go ahead and get a free attack of opportunity off on him.
Sweet.
This will not suffer any of the negatives from doing another attack. And you fucking connect straight with him. Go ahead and roll my... oh no, that's the attack roll. Go ahead and roll damage for that. 14. Perfect. Yeah, so, you step to the side, you slap Hana's brand new gun, the reticule pops up, and you turn just in time to see him lunge at you, and you're like, no way, and fucking straight to the sternum. Reels back. Does not look as though he is doing pretty good anymore, and just that sets him off guard, and he falls straight on his back. So he's going to be prone until his next turn. Valindra, my dear, you are up. So just so that everyone is aware, this one has been has taken quite a good amount of damage.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast Gravity Weapon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you have that now.
And then I'm going to. I'm gonna take a shot at the Flamey Skull dude.
Flaming Skull. All right. So you have clear shot. Even though Ember is in between the two of you, she's far enough off to the side that you don't have to worry about hitting her.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
So that's a 26.
Oh, that breaks. So you're gonna, yeah, it won't be deadly. So +1 question mark short bow. I love that. So 26 is actually 26 might. Nope, 26 is
Which
not.
means
not
it's
good
also
enough.
double the damage, so
Yep.
it's 8.
So yeah.
What?
Jump with the gun. Riley's like, I want to do it. I want to try the new weapon. So yeah, you just, one straight motion, knock your arrow, sling it. It hits the skull straight. Skull kind of like stumbles. Well, not stumbles, like flutters back. And you hit it for 5 damage total. You got one more act. Oh wait, no. So gravity weapon. I don't remember what gravity weapon does.
Doubles the damage of my first attack.
Okay, so that's actually going to be 10 damage total. So you've got 1 action left. If I remember correctly, gravity weapon takes 1.
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, you got 1 action left.
I am going to try and move things. I will end my turn.
Okay, so this
Wait.
is
What type of biome is this?
this would be wasteland or desolate, or if neither of those actually work, you could count it as a graveyard.
Okay.
We're going a little bit on the darker side of things. Okay, so Valindra ends her turn. It is the 3rd zombie over here. Just to make sure. Okay, so that's... Okay, so this zombie is going to move up in between both of you. Ember, I don't know if you have the attack of opportunity feat.
Actually, is it a feat?
I thought it is a feat in this one. I might be incorrect.
Let me just double check that.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the big differences between D&D and this one is...
It's a barbarian and champion thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. I don't.
Okay, so stumbles in between you two. It is going to see that its fellow is kind of gearing up to take a big chomp out of Hana. It's going to make a grab attack. Hana, my dear, does a 25 connect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be... Oh, geez, really? Okay, so it's only going to be 5 damage. And then can you make me a fortitude roll, please?
Yeah. Okay. Phew. That doesn't work. Got fucked.
What was your fortitude check?
21.
Okay, no. So as it grabs you, or like kind of like slugs you and grabs you and pulls you towards it, a like feeling rushes over you, but you're able to kind of just be like, now's not the time, and like shrug it off. So your fortitude passes no problem.
Help me.
And then it's going to try and fail miserably at hitting you again. Okay. Hannah, it is now your turn. If you would be so kind as to give me a strength check.
Oh, God damn it, I'm grappled, aren't I?
You are grappled.
How's an 11 work?
So you're still grabbed, but you're able to do stuff. Like he's kind of got like the front of your like jerkin, and he's trying to like pull you towards him.
And which one has me?
The shirtless one.
Right. Well, then I'm gonna. Did that save take an action?
Huh?
Did the save take an action?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna pull out the new big boy, and I'm gonna just fire right into him.
Okie dokies.
How's the 24 hit?
It hits. It hits good. So you just,
Sweet.
in fact, you place that barrel straight to his chest and pull the trigger, and you get a crit.
Well, then that's 2d8, I guess, right?
Yes, because it'll be double whatever you roll for damage.
That's good, because that about sucked there for a minute. 2, 3. Alright, new gun. Oh, 6 damage?
All right. Yeah. Nope. 6 damage hits. And then I need to look up real quick the bonuses on your gun. But in the meantime, Ember, go ahead. Actually, you have 2 more actions. Never mind. Go ahead and figure out.
No. I can't quick draw the gun because it's two-handed. So that was 2 of my actions, so I have 1 left.
Yeah.
The spray, there's no enemy within 10 feet, and it's like right through his chest. I'm assuming that doesn't
No.
kick into effect, and there's no reason for it to. I am going to reach behind me and cast Forbidding Ward, returning the favor.
Okay.
So, +1 to AC and +1 saving throws for you.
Awesome.
Go. Turn me the favor. I totally forgot I had guidance. That would have been 25. Sorry. Does make a difference.
By the way, did you add the 1 damage for knockback as well?
I didn't see knockback. And kickback is me.
Or,
Kickback
sorry.
means I take a -2.
Yes, but a kickback weapon deals 1 additional with all attacks. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, that's already factored in.
So yeah, you just barrel straight the chest, blast it straight through him. He is not doing good with that, new addition to him. And you're able to just kind of like...
Did he let go of me?
Yes. No, you rocked him. He is definitely flat-footed towards you. Ember, it is now your turn, my dear.
Quick
Great.
question.
You said this
Sorry.
one.
This one right here was the one who attacked. Aaron, what's up?
I just want to know how long that spell lasts.
The one Hana cast on you?
Yeah. the
1 minute.
+1 AC.
1 minute. And I
Awesome.
lied, it was 10 damage. I'm sorry.
Oh, 10 damage? Okay, so that's going to be...
Yeah, sorry. But 1 minute.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
10 turns.
Mhm.
All right, Ember.
Which is the most injured?
Of the ones around you, this...
No, I mean in general. Yeah,
oh, in
that's-
general?
Yep.
This one has definitely taken the most damage.
All right.
All right, so Ember is just like, that one has taken a beating. I'm just gonna go end this motherfucker's life, and you do. New sword, just fucking straight through
So
him.
who dis?
No resistance to it. You're just like cleaving twain. Oh god, not that. Damn you, stream cat. Like corpse just kind of like drifts off in the in the lack of gravity, and it is done. It is not moving. You have ended this man's career. You got 1 more action.
Gross.
Next most injured.
Would be this one right here.
Great.
These
Throwing
two,
a dagger.
These 2 have not been touched.
The skull has been touched.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, you are correct. Valindra has hit the skull. So only 1 thing has not been touched. So yeah, so that one is dead. And you just turn around and fucking Hawkeye straight into it. It hits it. It's not gonna crit this one, but it is going to definitely take the damage from it. Which means that it is now the skull's turn. So, the skull is going to seeing what Valindra has done to it, it's going to fly straight towards her. And it is going to try and headbutt you. Actually, no, sorry. We're going to reverse order on this, so. It's going to take a spit at Riley, which is going to crit. That is the wrong dice. Even with the disadvantage of shooting through. But don't worry, I did no damage, basically. So it's going to hit you, Riley, for 7 fire damage. That's
Interesting.
it. So it basically just hawks a loogie at you. And then it's going to fly towards Valindra, who shot it. And it is going to... Yeah, 21 hits, right? But it doesn't crit you, Tori? It's not 10
I don't know what any of this means.
So 10 over your armor class, your AC.
Oh, yeah, that does not crit then
Okay.
by a long shot.
So it just deals normal damage to you. It's going to headbutt you, though. You get close enough that you have trouble with it, and it's going to deal 6 damage plus 3 fire damage. So it's going to do 9 damage to you in total. We've got one more zombie knight. Well, it's not really a knight. He's actually just a normal zombie. He is going to try and punch Hana here. He's going to miss that. He's going to take another swing. He's going to miss that. And that's going to miss as well. So he just is like clawing at you, trying to get a hold of you, and you're able to just kind of like dodge and weave, no problem. Raga, you are up again.
I will, I guess, start by taking a swing at the knight zombie knight that's right here, because he's probably not going to let me go anywhere else.
Fair, fair. That one connects, it doesn't crit, so you're able to, you kind of just watch him lumber towards Hana, take the opportunity, and you just connect straight with him. You got 2 more.
I will try again.
That one is not going to hit.
Alright. Let's see then. I will throw another guidance on Hana's gun.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Hana, you've got guidance for next turn. Tori, you are up. You got the skull in front of you, and the zombies are flanking your dear friend Hana there.
Well, that's unfortunate. How long are our rounds?
So each turn is about 6 seconds. So every 10
Okay.
turns is 1 minute.
Got it. Okay. I just wanted to know if I needed to redo the gravity weapon thing or not.
No, it has not been a minute for you.
All right. I'll shoot at the shirtless one.
Okay. You will not suffer penalties because you do have the short bow still. So go ahead and spin me that attack.
So 15.
15 will hit, it won't crit, and then with gravity weapon on it, you're still going to hit for 10. Boo, boo. Alright. So, you watched Hana fucking just gat this thing straight in the chest with a shotgun. Lets go of her, stumbles back, dagger hits it, and you're just like, alright, gonna take this opportunity, loose an arrow into it, and it's just a pin cushion at this point. You got 2 more attacks. Or 2 more actions, I should say.
That's the
attack number 2.
same one.
Yep. So go ahead and roll damage. That one hit.
This one?
Yes.
There we go.
All right. So that one doesn't have gravity weapon. So you turning this thing into a pincushion. Another arrow. It looks like it's starting to stumble a little bit. Like it's not. It doesn't have the strength it used to. So in D&D 4th and 5th edition, it's definitely bloodied. Just means it's below half. Half or below, rather.
Is this the skull you're talking about, or?
No, the shirtless zombie there.
Ah, got it.
All right. 15.
That hits. Okay. Go ahead and give me one last attack. And 6 damage. So, just a nice, consistent volley from Valindra. All 3 score true. You know, you're kind of like, as you're shooting, you're like panicking a little bit, of course. But you're able to just stick all 3, no problem. The zombie kind of like drops down to a knee a little bit, definitely shaken up, and even post-death has definitely seen better days. So with that, a zombie is actually going to use one of its actions to stand back up, and then it's going to turn towards Valindra, who has been turning it into a pincushion. Move once. It's going to take a single bite attack at you. Oh wow, it does not. Okay, does a flat 6 does not, or a flat 9 does not break your AC at all. I can
No.
definitely guarantee that. Which means that Hana, it is now your turn.
All right. Shit. It's got that 10 spray, so if I shoot at that thing, it's gonna hit Tori. So I will get the guy to my left.
Spoopy, that's 10 feet. Or is it? Do you mean it's 10 feet wide?
It has a spray of 10 feet.
Yeah, you could position yourself not to. I'm not going to tell you how because I'm not going to give you that, but you could position.
Yeah, no, I would have to move, but I also got the dude right next to me.
Fair.
Oh no. That's 10.
Thankfully it doesn't hit. So you wheel around, fired a little too quickly. You just hit the side of the tower. It doesn't do anything.
A nice chunk in the tower. Yeah.
And is that with the +1 to guidance?
That would have been an 11.
Still
Sorry.
wouldn't have hit, but yes.
Yeah, no. Try it again. Oh, fuck me. So it's, what's the second attack minus?
5.
Oh no.
That's a 2.
Would you like to use your daily heroic inspiration?
Yes.
So do not forget, every session you automatically... Every session you do start with 1 hero point no matter what. Impressive. So you're just like, you wheel around, pull the trigger a little too early, you fucking cock the shotgun again, and as you go to pull the trigger, the gun just jams on you. The pin doesn't fire, the shell is stuck in there, and you're just left basically with a nice club in your hand, if you want to talk about it.
Hang fire, eh?
I just bought this. I'm gonna put it away and use my action, like put it away and pull out a smaller one, and that's all I can do.
Okay.
You just bought it, but did you clean it first?
It's me.
Amber, it is your turn.
Just gonna walk up and then just say, "Have you tried turning it on and off again?" And then just.
Oh, and you do. You bring your better... I love that you named it Better Greatsword, by the way. You bring that down on that zombie's skull and you crit. Go ahead and roll me damage. Holy shit. So, you're like, have you tried turning it off and on again? And just straight down, and it cleaves from neck to chest, just stuck in that zombie. And you pull it out, and the zombie is standing, if you want to call it that, but there's still motion in it. But let's see,
Kicking?
it is still kicking, but it is on the last threads of its unlife. Like
The thing I love about swords, they don't need reloading.
And again, you just
Cry.
By like, I don't know if it's the College of Lift that has just put this oomph in your swing. Holy shit. It's even worse, by the way, because these have a minus resistance to slashing damage. So Ember's not dealing 46 damage. She's dealing more than that. So you're just like... that belt, your championship belt is just... I don't know if it's like giving you moxie or whatever, but Ember's got the spring in her step, swing into her own tune, and you just obliterate this thing. It is gone.
Holy shit.
Sometimes they put little pieces of like wood in the chamber. You might need to take those out as a sort of second safety.
So, seeing that its comrades have completely been, aside from this one that is a pincushion, but basically completely been dismembered, this skull is going to show a little bit of intelligence that probably wouldn't be towards most undead, and it's going to GTFO. So it uses its 3 moves to just dip. So, boop. This zombie is dead. About 6 times over. Actually, mathematically, it is dead 2 times over. Raga, it is now your turn. There is 1 standing. It is bloodied. But it is currently bearing down on your teammate there.
If I wanted to see just the general direction that the skull was going, do I need to roll a perception check for that?
So no. You would... If you were paying attention to it, like let's say you were turned because, you know, your teammate just obliterated this one, so you're like, well, fuck, we need to go pay attention to the thing. You do see it fly off. It's flying off to the north towards the settlement.
Okay. Alright, well, noting that, step around and say, okay, now how do I turn this on? And just...
And you do just that. So, just standing up behind it, with... Actually, yeah, so because you'll be flanking it, and it's going to be flat-footed towards you, it's going to actually be just enough to crit. So you're, you know, just stand up behind it, and this new Warhammer is doing work for you. And you cleave that skull in. It is obliterated. The corpse falls to its knees, stops moving, and even though there's no air, an air of peace, per se, befalls all of you. So everyone go ahead and add 60 experience to your sheets. And then we're going to take a very quick break just because I need to use the restroom. So let's take a quick 5-minute break, reconvene at noon. For those of you who are just joining in or anything, you know, this is kind of a show that we do bi-weekly. We have a Patreon that you can support us on and everything. Or if you missed the first half of this episode and you really want to catch up, it goes on my YouTube every week. So I will post those links in chat. We're going to take a quite nice quick break because, you know, we want to stand up, stretch, and all that stuff. And we will reconvene. We sometimes do the Lesbian Weekly as well. God damn it, Riley. We'll reconvene in just a moment here, and we will continue on with the storyline. So let's stand up, take a break, or take a stretch and everything, and we'll be back very soon. I'm going to put on some chill jams from Rainwave Radio. God, that's a hard word for me to say. And we will be back in just a moment.